Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, happy Thursday morning to you.
Good morning. Happy Thursday to you, Bob. How are things?
It's cold outside today.
Did you run?
I ran, yeah. I posted a video and talked about how you have to prepare for the cold. And fortunately, I looked at the weather last night and saw it was going to be cold and had my little skull cap and my sweatshirt. I was good.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Check out that video. It's on Facebook, on my page. It's also on the Ring Renegades Facebook page if you want to take a look.
I will do that.
Beautiful sunrise.
I bet it was usually those clear, cool days have great sunrises.
Yes, correct.
Awesome. All right. Well, are you ready to dive in today?
I am. Shall we start with you want to explain what our topic is? I know I wanted to get right to a celebration, but go ahead.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. We hope that you are sharing, liking, favoriting, doing all the things you can do if you're listening to the podcast. So that ranking.
Rating.
A rating.
You rate us. You give a 5-star rating. Not to give you a subliminal suggestion, but 5 stars, please.
Excellent. Has anybody rated us yet?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
I'm sure there have. There've got to be some people who rated us. You know, we're fairly new with the podcast, and it's growing. And it's interesting. This is kind of a diversion, but Liz and I were driving home late last night from a game, and we were listening to a podcast. And I got listening to it, and I'm like, because we listened to the start. And it was a pro football fantasy podcast that Liz sometimes listens to. And they spent probably 15 minutes talking about pretty much nothing. And I was like, interesting. Because I'm not a big podcast listener, so I don't necessarily know the formula that they use. They are definitely younger than
you're talking about. I see what you're doing there.
And I was okay, great. So other people have these random opening conversations that sometimes relate to what they're talking to and sometimes not. So I felt better about that. And as I listened, we use the word like a lot less than they do. So I was like, that's good. Anyhow, that was just a aside.
We do have words that we use often.
We do, just not as
so.
I'm sorry?
We use the word so a lot.
It's probably correct.
We also say it's funny. It's interesting. I've been paying attention.
I guess you have. I have not been paying that close of an attention. I guess I'll have to
just listen to yourself.
Yeah, I'm not always interested in doing that, so that may not happen. Anyhow, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, you can also comment, or on YouTube or Twitter. As Bob found out yesterday, we are now live on Twitter. So he found out yesterday we're live on Twitter. Today we're like, we got to get all these hashtags in the title. I was like, okay, we'll get on that. So now we're also on Twitter. So if you're watching us on Twitter, you can also comment. We would love to hear your thoughts and ideas, as we know that it'll help someone else. And at the end of the show, Bob and I will offer our antidote, our one thing. And we hope that if you have something to share, you will do it as well. In a moment, we're going to get to it right into our topic in a moment, which we've been talking all week about the Renegade Day. And, we've talked a little bit about what it means. We've talked about the day pack, your day pack. And then we dove deeper into that yesterday with the 4 essentials of the day pack and a little more deeper what else you can include and how that just is the foundation. Today, we are going to discuss objections that people may have. And it's kind of like a frequently asked questions a little bit. And before we do that, we're going to start out like we always do in sharing our celebrations. Sorry, Bob, you had to put off for about 3 minutes sharing your celebration because clearly you have one that you are excited about. So let's hear it.
I am. My wife works at Johns Hopkins University. This is her 25th anniversary at that job.
Wow. Nice.
I was thinking in the shower this morning, I was thinking about it. I've had 10 full-time jobs and 4 part-time teaching jobs in that 25 years. And she's worked at 2 different jobs at the university. Three different jobs. And she has affected thousands and thousands and thousands of students, faculty members, you name it. Everything from, we had a student who had nowhere to go on Christmas, spend Christmas with my family and Laura's family.
Nice.
We took another student on a bike trip to see Baltimore. She is just all in. And it is, we often talk about the entrepreneurial renegade, the small business renegade, but there are also renegades out there who are doing it their own way in corporate environments,
Sure.
in long-standing jobs. And I want to just point out that those people make a huge difference in so many of the things that allow you and me to do the things that we do. To go from here to here to here, you need to have stability somewhere. And we are blessed with those people, both of us. Your wife's been at a job for a fair number of years, right?
Correct.
And hint, hint, it also helps with health benefits.
Sometimes. No, I agree. I mean, that's the beauty, I think, of being a renegade, is that there are lots of different ways that you can do it. Doesn't have to be. I mean, it is a little easier to see and embrace that renegade in you as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur. Maybe you're the head of a nonprofit organization. And, we talk about organizational leaders and the ways that organizational leaders can also be renegades, just in the way that whether the way they go about doing their work or the way that they incorporate some of the things within their work into their public or private life to make someone else's life more beneficial. So,
and these days, longevity at a job, 25 years at a job, it used to be the norm. When we were kids, that was the standard. Nowadays, you'd be hard pressed to find anyone who's worked at a job for 25 years.
Yes, you are correct. There's a lot of them running around higher education, I would say. That was one of the things I did notice, is that higher education was a place where there was, within some roles, a lot of stability in that regard. So kudos to her. Now, does she get like a big ceremony? Does she get a catalog that she gets to scroll through and pick something out?
She picked something out of the catalog, and oddly enough, the other day she was telling me she got a thing in the mail from the Postal Service, and it was the tag for the thing she ordered, but it had been ripped off of the bag or box. So she got the tag, but not the item. So she's got to figure that out. But later today, she will get something from a delivery person that I know about that will get there.
Yeah. Well, good for her. Congratulations, Laura. Well done. Yeah. And my celebration.
Yes.
Does that matter, or should I share? Or
yeah,
no?
Please. Why wouldn't it?
I have no idea. I guess my celebration is that, except I celebrated that yesterday, so I need something else to celebrate. My celebration is that today Bob and I are going to do something that's a little out of not during this show, but later in the day. We are going to step a little out of our comfort zone and do something a little different. Try something that we think is going to have a lot of value to the people who decide to participate in it. And, I think that, again, I'm trying to really not judge the results and just understand the results, and then figure out how do we move forward from that. And I think this will be a good test of taking my own words into practice to see what happens. And we might even talk a little bit about it on the show, just to give a little hint. Probably it'd be more information tomorrow. So that is my celebration, is that we are going to step out there a little bit and provide something that we think will be beneficial to all you renegades out there. So stay tuned to learn more about that. So now that we know what we're celebrating, Bob, what is the world celebrating?
It's National Chewing Gum Day today, Tom. National Chewing Gum Day. That's right. Grab your, what's it, Double Bubba, your Wrigley's, Spearmint, I got nothing. I'm not a gum chewer, so it's literally the extent of my gum knowledge. And I am not able to blow a bubble. One of the biggest frustrations to me is when my wife chooses, every now and then she'll have some gum and she'll just blow a bubble, and I'll be like, I wish I could do that. That's on the list of things to accomplish before I die.
That's on your bucket list, blowing a bubble?
That is. It really is.
That might be one of those things near the top. You probably cross that up. Maybe not. Fairly.
That and solving a Rubik's Cube.
You should talk to my daughter.
Okay.
She can solve it in about 30 seconds.
Okay. All right.
So if you want help with that one, I can help you with that one. Blowing a bubble, maybe. Although probably your neighborhood kids, the 3 kids who live next door.
Oh, they do it all the time.
Yeah. They probably
do it, and they do it sometimes just to annoy me.
Because you told them that you don't know how to do it?
Yes.
So you're not supposed to share those things with little kids?
No. So are you a gum chewer?
Not really.
Okay.
Sometimes if I'm on a plane, I might.
Okay. Yep. That's usually about the only place I would chew gum.
I used to chew gum a little bit. When I was a kid, I think more. Trying to think of when. Sometimes if I was at an event or getting ready for an event, I might chew a little gum just if I didn't get a chance. If I had been working on the setup or had, because I usually didn't get to eat at many of the events that I was working at. So I might eat before and then have some gum because I didn't get a chance to brush my teeth. But that's kind of about it.
There was a point, I think when I was like 12 or 13, where they had Gatorade gum.
I remember that.
And when there was this whole marketing around it that if you ate the Gatorade gum, you were a true athlete. So for a period of time, I bought into that, I will confess.
And were you a true athlete?
No, never. You've seen me play golf. Come on, Tom.
Fair.
I don't know how you made that statement without laughing.
And try to dunk a basketball. I've seen that.
We should bring that one back someday.
That would definitely make highlights of the today's antidote.
For those of you who are new to this, somewhere around May of 2020, I think we were talking about dunking a basketball. I'm 6 feet 6 inches tall, and we were talking about mindset. And Tom offered to coach me through figuring out how to dunk a basketball. So in my yard, I'm blessed with a 10-foot basket. And we tried this and we videotaped it. I think we recorded it live even.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It did not go well.
It was not good.
It was not good. It pretty much showed that mindset might not be all you need to be gifted.
No, although I think when we go back and if you think back on it, I think you did jump higher than you thought you could.
Yes, I did.
And that was really it, of like how you can leverage, how your mind is mind and body is more powerful than we think it is if we're able to put it into action. So I think,
and also what we talk about with the idea that you're not really judging the result. It's
correct.
The effort and what you learned along the way. I learned a couple of things in that process.
Yes.
But Tom, we could talk about that episode for the rest of the day and bore people completely. Let's get to our hot topic of the day, which is the objections around planning your day, which, if I may, I'd like to start because I hear them all the time and I hear them in my head sometimes. May I?
Keep going. You're on a roll.
Okay. First off, if I plan my day, what if I make the wrong plan? What if I'm doing the wrong things? Second of all, if I plan my day out, what if something really important comes up? What if I plan my day, and at the end of the day, I haven't accomplished those things, then I'm frustrated, then I'm annoyed, then I'm mad at myself. And today would have been a total waste. Those are three I hear all the time. And the other one is, and this one's a real big one that people don't say, but you can feel it. They're like, yeah, I kind of just do what I feel. I like to just, I don't like to be tied down. I had a job where I was tied down and they forced me to do things in a certain order. And I really tried to get away with that when I started my business or when I came to this job. And so I really don't like the idea of having to, it just boxes me in. What do you say to all that, Tom?
Uh,
You froze on me. You froze again. We have worked on this. This is supposed to be fixed. And now Tom is in froze mode, which means I get to talk more, which secretly, folks, I've actually manipulated Tom's internet so that when I want to talk more, he has technology problems and that allows me to talk more. So we're talking about objections to planning your day. Did you hear all that, Tom?
Oh yeah, I heard all of it. I got it all.
Okay.
You can release that little button now so that
Okay, I
so
will
that my
do
internet
just
comes-
that. I was hoping you
Yes.
didn't hear that.
No, got it all. Pretty much every word, which is okay. I'm all right with that.
It's what's real for me.
Correct. That is what is real for you, and that's what matters. I think the objections come around. I think it's interesting because I think so often people try to impose on someone else the way to do anything. And in this case, how do you build your day? How do you schedule? How do you plan your day? And, I think sometimes those are taken as, well, that might work for you, but it's not going to work for me. Or I have my own system, or that. And I think that is some of the, I think why renegades struggle sometime with those types of structures is because it's someone telling them, this is the way you need to do it. Here's your Franklin planner. You have to use that. Or we're paperless, so you have to do your calendar on your computer. And I think it's that, like, not being able to choose is one of the big objections that I think people have, is that they don't want to feel like someone is trying to impose on them something, even if it's something that works really well for them. Because I think as we all look at our day and we think, or how do we plan for our day, we've been doing it sort of every day, kind of, for most of our life. Whether you really plan it or not, you have a plan. You get up, I'm going to get up and I got to do this, this, and this. Rarely is it like, I don't even, one, I don't have to get up. Two, if I get up, I can do whatever I want to do. I'm just going to lounge around all day. Sometimes we have those days. And typically there's a lot of things that we need to do. So at some point we're giving some thought into what does the next day look like. And I think the challenge is so often is that we want to control that. And then we can't always control it. And I think that becomes sometimes the struggle, is thinking, okay, I'm going to get up and this is exactly what I'm going to do. And then having it not work the way you thought it was going to work. And then you start to question and you start to get overwhelmed. And then you start to have judgments on what your plan was and how it got derailed. And I think, one of the things I really like about this day pack process and the Renegade Day is we're not doing that. We're not trying to tell you this is the system you should use. This is how you should do it. This is what product you need to buy. You have to take these exact steps. What we're saying is that as you look at what you're trying to accomplish in your day, here are the things you should consider. Here are the things that you want to think about so that you don't get into that overwhelm. So that when things come up, as they always will, almost always will, you're not as thrown by them, and that you start to understand that this is just all part of some things we don't have control over, and things are going to happen. So how do we not let that derail us? How do we Or even if it derails us and it does for a minute, we're able to jump back and move forward. I shared that story about Tuesday morning. I forgot what day it was, where I had this whole plan. This is what I'm going to get up and do. And I have to admit, I was frustrated when it wasn't going as I planned. And then almost as soon as I had that thought, my next thought was, okay, don't worry about it. What am I going to learn from that? It's okay. Sometimes things happen and they don't adjust. Now, what can I do moving forward? So I didn't stay stuck in the challenges. And I was able to look at what had I intended to do and realize that now I had less time than I thought I had the night before. Now, maybe the 3 things I wanted to get done, I have to be like, okay, how can I make sure I get 2 or 1 done in the time that I have remaining, And sometimes when the time we think we had to do the work that was the most priority gets taken over, we have to realize that, you know what, that's just the way it is. And I don't have any other time. You might look at your schedule and be like, I've got all afternoon meetings. Great. I've got the whole morning. I don't know how many times this happened to me at work when I was at a job, when I would go in and I was leading a team and someone would come in right away with a challenge. So all that time that I thought I had was taken over. And then I realized that, well, now I'm not going to get anything done, because I have meetings all afternoon. When, as I think about it, helping that person get through their challenge as a leader is part of my role. And so I was able to get things done. So that was a long-winded thought. I was just hitting your mute button so that you couldn't talk.
No, I was going to add that one of the things I've experienced at times is a sense of being out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know exactly what I'm doing, and I can't connect the things I'm doing to what I'm trying to accomplish. And I think one of the things about scheduling your day is it tethers you, it anchors you. It doesn't mean you're going to do all those things every day. I can tell you, I've used the day pack. There are days where it goes horribly wrong. Yesterday was a day where it didn't go the way I thought it would because of some things coming up. But I knew that there were things that when I got through the crises of the day, I could come back to those things and do those things. And I was doing them at 8:00 in the evening, but I knew they needed to be done. And I knew that they were important to me achieving the goals I had for the day, for the week, for my business. And so having that grounding, I think, is what we're really trying to get at, and giving you a feeling of control. One of the things I think almost every small business owner, every entrepreneur I've talked to has said it in one way or another is, I just don't feel like I have any control of anything. And there are lots of things that you can't control. You can't control when the customer is going to buy. You can't control the stock market. You can't control the supply chain. You can't control a whole bunch of things out there. But one thing you can control, if you choose, is what you're going to try to accomplish in the day. And that alone, that sense of control that I get when I do that, leads to other great things happening. And when things go off the rails, as they do, it's not as big a deal. It's like, oh, okay, man, I'm not going to be able to work on this article I have to write this afternoon. I've got to deal with this crisis. But then later, when the crisis is over, oh, what do I do now? Oh, I go back to the article that I was supposed to work on at 2:00.
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the things about it is, when you talk about what are the things you can control, we can control how we react to those situations as they arise. And they can either overwhelm us and overtake us, or we can decide that we're not going to let that happen. And we are going to just choose like, okay, that's what happened. Didn't have any control over that. Well, what I do control now is what's the next step that I take. And I can choose to be like, you know what, the day's a loss. I'm just going to throw it all, pack it all in and go home. That's a choice. You can make that choice. And that might work out fine because you need to just get away. You can also say, all right, now what am I going to do next? And I often find that if I don't have that down, if I haven't prioritized what I want to do next, I'll just get into like, all right, now I'm just going to go check email or, look to see
Scroll
if anybody's
Facebook,
right, or something that is in some
buy
way.
office supplies.
Yeah, I don't do a lot. That's not one of my. I don't think that's one of my things that I do to avoid doing other things. As I know some people that have that. I mean, there's a lot
Or
of
some people watch videos.
right, clean your desk or
Just yeah.
all the things that you could do that do they add value? Sure. And they're not probably moving you where you want to go with what you're trying to accomplish.
So Tom, it's that time. What is your one thing today, your today's antidote that we can chew on as we go through our busy Thursday?
Well, as I think about objections to the Renegade Day, I would just go back to what I said earlier is that I don't think what we're trying to say is you have to do this. I think what we're suggesting is that these are questions that you should ask as you determine your day the way you feel most important, so that you've prioritized things. You've at least had an understanding of what went well, what didn't go as planned, and what would you do differently. You were able to celebrate the actions that you took, even if they weren't the exact actions that you wanted to take. Even those days where we struggle, there are things we can look back on and celebrate that we got that done, or that this happened, or there was this result. That was one of the things that I never did enough of when I led a team, celebrating the progress that I helped someone else make in their role, even though it took me away from the things that I thought I needed to do for my role. And I think that's one of those things as leaders, you really almost have to be prepared for that, is that those things are going to happen. So it's really a mindset of here are some things to think about that will help you, no matter what your system is, be better prepared for the day. And maybe most importantly, be better prepared for when the day goes off the rails. And now you need to figure out what to do next. If you haven't considered that, this is an opportunity for you to set that up so that you have that foundation. Like when the whole world's going crazy, and now I have the opportunity to choose how I'm going to react, I can go back and I have something that says, I have those essentials from the day back that say, what am I going to do? What's my next step?
I'm going to ask people a really simple question. And this is a serious question that I ask myself a fair amount of the time. Are you doing the things that will most efficiently get you where you want to go? Are you doing the things that will help you most efficiently get where you want to go? Because if you aren't, and there are many days when I'm not, I'll be honest, that's the difference between achieving your goals and not achieving your goals. And when you can look at that and say, hey, you know what? I need to shift some things. What we are suggesting is a way to look at the big picture of your day that doesn't prohibit you from doing anything. It doesn't say that I can't go play golf in the middle of the day today. It actually allows for that. It allows for me, if I want to work 2 days a week, 18 hours a day, it allows for that. It allows me to work on weekends if I want. It allows me not to work on weekends. It gives complete flexibility to you, but it also gives you the focus and the opportunity to really make sense of what you're trying to do and really drive results. That's ultimately when you start to figure this out, that's what comes. The results will come. We're seeing it over and over with ourselves and with the people we're working with, that those results far exceed what their expectations are because suddenly they're learning the lessons along the way. The most powerful question to me in that whole thing is, what would you do differently?
Right.
When you can really consider that without the emotion, oh, I should have spent more time on it. Okay, great. Why didn't you spend the time? Well, I didn't prioritize it. I didn't think it was going to work, so I kind of phoned it in. Okay, now you're getting at those issues that can help you really move forward. And that's what we're really trying to do.
Yeah, I would agree. I love that because I think that's helpful. And, I was just having to be looking at something that had those 4 F's that you shared yesterday, which the more I thought about it throughout the day, I think it's a really helpful way, because I think this is what people are looking for: focus, flexibility, freedom, and fun. And I think it encapsulates all of those things. And, you don't have to think like fun doesn't have to mean, oh, jolly, happy, everybody's, it's just a party. Fun means that you take the time to recognize and maybe plan for some fun.
Or you enjoy your day.
Correct.
I had a really busy day, but man, it is so much fun to be me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It helps you come back the next day, right?
Right. And if you're constantly going, I didn't do what I wanted to do, I didn't get anything done today, I didn't this, you can't get to freedom and fun.
Absolutely. So if anyone has one thing they would like to offer, please feel free to share it in the comments. And if you're looking for that focus, flexibility, freedom, and fun to your work, we might have the solution for you. We're going to talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. And because we think that this is something that we're going to put out there that we think is going to be helpful. I'm going to tease it it's called Find Success the Renegade Way, and a 6-week challenge that's going to help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be by Thanksgiving. Because I know that this is, for a lot of people, we know this is a key time of the year where you have to figure out, all right, before the holidays step in and things get all wonky, or before I get super stressed out about the end of the calendar year, fiscal year maybe for some, how can I leverage the next 6 weeks to make sure that they are as effective and I'm as efficient as I can be? So we'll share more.
And the fourth quarter starts tomorrow. So if you set that list of goals last December or January and said, I'm going to get to a certain place, and you're lagging behind, this 6-week challenge could give you all that you need to pick up all that lost time.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in that right now, without even knowing a whole lot of details, just put I'm a Renegade in the chat or in a comment. We'd love to hear that. And then one of us can be back in touch. We can talk with you about it further. You'll also see some further information on it, or just message one of us and we can fill you in. So thanks so much for being with us today on this edition of today's Antidote. If you are not yet a member of our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, you're going to want to
What's wrong with you?
Don't judge.
Sorry.
Don't judge.
It's just there every day. And sometimes
maybe because we're on Twitter. Maybe because we're on Twitter now, somebody who never knew anything about us now understands it. It's like, I didn't know there was a Facebook group.
A Facebook group of more than 1,000 renegades.
So you are not
30 or 50. Yeah, you are not alone. This is a growing group of people committed.
Is it private?
Tom, I'm going to tell you it is. And here's why. You may not know this, so let me share. We want to create a safe space where people can talk about the issues that they face without judgment, without being reluctant to just really get into it. If someone's having a bad day, it's a place where you can say, I'm just having a bad day, or I'd like to fire all my employees. Or you could say that and people would give you the support you need. They wouldn't say, you can't do that, that's wrong. Because we're all having those thoughts. And what Tom and I realized about a year and a half ago was there wasn't a safe space for these kinds of discussions. Networking events, you have to say, you're doing great. Oh, how's business? Oh, it's booming. It may not be booming. Oh, how are employees? Oh, it's awesome. Got great employees. But you don't. We want to give you that space where you can actually be real. Tell us what's real. Tell other people what's real. And then learn from each other. And what's amazing to me is when someone shares something emotional, something that they're going through, the likes and the replies, people are like, oh, yeah, I totally get that. Oh,
sure.
I had that. And this is what I did.
So how can you join the group?
What's that, Tom?
How can you join the Facebook group?
You go to Facebook, and on Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades. And we'll let you in if you do two things. You have to give us your name, and you also have to tell us why you're a renegade. And I'll tell you this, you don't have to study up for 18 months, watch every episode. You can just explain why you think you're a renegade. And the bar's pretty low. Okay. Between you and me, you don't have to really, this isn't a 500-word essay, 5-paragraph essay like you wrote in high school. Just put something that explains why you're a renegade. And then we'll let you in, and then you can be part of this growing group. How'd I do, Tom?
That was awesome. You must be listening for 417 episodes.
You are still foggy. You've got too much stuff going on your computer, don't you?
Probably. I don't know about that. Either way, so that's a good time to wrap up. Thanks so much for being with us today. We hope that we will see you inside the Ringer Renegades Facebook group, or we will see you here tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegade in you and look for what we're doing later today.
Ooh, good job.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.